Welcome back for the second segment of Trips and Traps. I just wanted to mention at the top, with the Breeders' Cup coming up this weekend, we're hoping we'll be able to show some races. We're not sure. We're hoping we can show some races for next week. So if anybody has any questions or thoughts on the Breeders' Cup, make sure to remember, send us an email at the tripsandtraps@NYRAinc.com email address, which we'll offer again at the end of the show.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of trips and plenty of traps coming out of the Breeders' Cup at Santa Anita this weekend. But let's move on to some races from last week. And the first one we'll take a look at is the Ticonderoga Handicap, part of Showcase Day. We're focusing in on the 6 Bella Triche here.
Yeah, and she's a horse that we talked about at a show before. We're not trying to show it and say we weren't wrong last time, because she obviously was in over her head in this race, and we talked about maybe she would try this race. The truth is, she ran very well in this race because there was absolutely no pace, and pretty much they went around the track in order with Loveco. I'm sorry, with. Is it who won the race?
Love
Right, Love Cove won the race and set a very slow pace in doing so. Took advantage of that. And Bella Triche here is much closer than she probably wants to be.
Yeah, I mean, just taking a look at the chart, the horses that were 1, 3, 2, 4 at the at the first call, and the race ran 1, 2, 3, 4 at the finish. So not a lot of changing of positions going on here. Bella Triche, sitting in about 5th or 6th position right now. It's going to have to make up the ground, and it wasn't easy to do in this race.
No, it wasn't. And note also on the outside, the gray Nejma is making a kind of a premature wide move to it. And I thought she ran pretty well. But also, they come in the stretch, and you can see that Bella Triche is moving the 2-path behind horses. She has trouble in the stretch.
Yeah, you're going to see right here, she's in behind about 4 horses in the leading group there, and Bella Triche highlighted right there is going to have some traffic trouble here through the stretch as we roll it once again. Horses all around her, down her inside, outside, in front of her, behind her, just not an easy spot to be in, and really not a lot of places to go here for jockey Ramon Dominguez.
No, I mean, Ramon did the best he could with her, and he rode her well. He just got in one of those situations, and it happens, especially these mile-and-eighth turf races here, it just doesn't work out for her, and she clearly has plenty of horse, and she gets herself out towards the end. Now, she wasn't going to run down anybody in there, but all things considered, the race dynamics, where she had to be as opposed to where she'd like to be, and the stretch run, I think she ran very well. And the truth is, against even these horses in a fairly run race, I'd almost give her a shot. And if she drops back into a non-winners of 2 with the restricted condition at Aqueduct, I think she's going to win.
Should be very dangerous. And the pace in here, they went 25 to the quarter, 50 to the half. If she gets 24-48, she's probably got a much better shot to run down the leaders late there. So definitely one worth keeping an eye on for Bella Triche. We'll take a look at the Mohawk Handicap now. This was the boys on the turf. Few horses in here had some trouble trips. The 4 Classic Pack got way behind early. Gimme Credit and North Country get some trouble in the stretch.
No question. And we'll start it out, and these are tough, these mile-and-eighth races, because we don't get the side view of the start. And we're going to stop very quickly. And there's Classic Pack already in the back of the pack. And I think it's fair to assume, considering where he is, that he broke a length and a half, 2 lengths slow in this race.
Or maybe even more.
Yeah, and also it was a race that was run very similar to the filly and mare race we just showed, where there was a slow pace, and the 1, 2, 3 horse right there at the wire. And unfortunately, that hurt Banrock going to sweep the series. And Classic Pack, there he is back in last. The slow break, the slow pace. What chance did he have?
No, he has absolutely no chance in here in a tough race like this. And you're right on, Andy. I mean, the way the pace scenario unfolded for these 2 races, the Ticonderoga and the Mohawk, these mile-and-eighth races in the inner track, they're tough they're tough. If you're not in that front group of horses, you better hope they're going under 50 to the half, and that doesn't happen too often. They actually go 49 and change here, a little bit over 49 flat for this race, so they picked it up in the second quarter of the race here, but still a very controlled pace here being set by Get Serious, who was 6-1 in this race, and Logic Way, the eventual winners, sitting right there in the leading group as well.
Right. I mean, they didn't, some horses made moves at the back, from the back of the pack towards the end of the race, and you'll see the Classic Pack does very well, but all things considered, if you were on or near the lead in this race, you had a huge advantage. And the horse that's on the lead now came in from New Jersey with very good form, and it's not that shocking that he ran second here, but it was more of a dynamics, the way the race was run, than necessarily his ability, because I don't think in a fairly run race he should beat Banrock or Classic Pack.
No, I agree 100%. Banrock, by far the best horse in the division, I think all year, kind of gets a little bit of a jackpot here with the pace scenario, but we're going to take a look at a couple other horses in the race now. The number 3, and the number 3 is North Country, and the 1 is Gimme Credit. They're both down toward the inside. North Country's in the blackish red silks, and Gimme Credit's back toward the inside in the yellowish silks. And with the pace scenario kind of slow to develop, you expect horses to be bunched up throughout the runnings of the race, and that's what happens here. And we once again see where if you're down inside, you're not on the outside in the clear, you can really get into some trouble here. And keep your eye on the 2 horses running down on the inside, 4th and 5th right now. They have absolutely nowhere to go here in the stretch. And the 1 horse, I thought Gimme Credit ran a better race. Really looks like he's going to make a strong move here. here and has to steady a little bit. He's a little bit more willing to go on with it than North Country was, but I still would say, you can't really discount North Country's effort here, and you see, give me credit, steady barely there in the stretch down to the final stages down toward the inside there. This is a horse that could have finished third or fourth, and here might even be able to win the race.
Might have won the race. Give me credit. You feel him as bad. He's had a lot of tough luck this season. He's sort of a tweener horse that might not really want a mile and eighth, though in this race he showed that he can do it, and he did save a lot of ground here, but there's no question he was definitely cost a couple of positions, if not more, at the end by the trouble. And of course there was Classic Pack closing belatedly right behind Banrock, and you feel bad because Banrock did so much this year, and I found myself really rooting for him in this race, even though I bet on Classic Pack. I wanted to see Banrock do well in here. To have accomplished and won all 4 races would have been a great achievement. Of course, this race shows why it's so hard to do something like that, because you do fall victim to dynamics sometimes.
Absolutely, and we'll take a look at one more race from Showcase Day. This is the Empire Classic. We're looking at the third place finish here, Love Abroad, who really went off a huge price here. I think he was the rank outsider in the race, actually 72-1. Love Abroad's going to end up finishing third, the number 9 horse here, and Love Abroad gets into a spot in here where he's going to steady a little bit on the turn and then steady a little bit in the stretch here. But you know what, for a horse that was really in poor form, it looked like coming into this race, I thought he really represented himself well here. He's not close to the win. He's going to get beat 5 lengths in here, but gets in a little bit of traffic issues here in the turn, and is going to steady down on the inside too. But what I liked about this horse was that Love Abroad had come into this race off 2 non-winners of 1 allowances, going 7 furlongs, which I think might be too short for him. He ran against some tough horses. He ran against Timber Reserve. He ran against Wandering Boy up at Saratoga. So I think those 2 horses really a different ball game from this state-bred race here. And keep in mind also that not North Country, Love Abroad's 3 winners have come. All 3 of his career wins have come over the inner track at Aqueduct. So this is a horse that's coming into the season that he probably likes to do best in good form. He's down on the inside. He's going to have a little bit of a minor steady here. But you know what? At this point in the race, he could be 3rd, he could be 7th, but he actually ends up ironing out the 3rd place finish. I thought a very gutsy effort here from Love Abroad. Obviously, he's not going to threaten the winners. Wasn't going to win the race here, but setting him up for Aqueduct if they want to try to run him in a 2-event allowance and put him in for the tag there, I think he'd be very tough. In that spot, he might even have a shot in some overnight allowances that come up on the inner track.
No question. He outruns his odds dramatically. I could say he was helped by being on the rail in this race. We're talking about a 72-1 shot, and he certainly runs a decent race in here, and I think you're right. He's a good horse to look forward to running at Aqueduct. He gets in the right spot. It's hard to find the right spot because he's obviously gone through his New York bred conditions, so he has to run in the open non-winners of 1, and it's not clear he's good enough, but this is the kind of effort that means he's moving forward, and as you said, going to the surface he seems to do the best on. I think he has a chance to do well.
I don't think you'll see too many Timber Reserves or Wandering Boys and allowances at Aqueduct that Love Abroad will be running in.
Probably not. And anyway, that does it for this week's Trips and Traps. We really appreciate your watching, and keep the emails coming. Trips and Traps at NYRAInc.com. Breeders' Cup races, any race from closing week at Belmont. Love to hear from you, and we'll see you from Aqueduct next week.
That's right, Big A. A little change of scenery, and hopefully the Trips and Traps keep on coming. Good luck in the Breeders' Cup, everyone, this week. We'll see you next time.